the risk assessment methodology. Very rarely is something as important as this. All roads go back to the risk assessment, as we know, and the method in which an organisation undertakes risk assessments, its approach, the type of templates that people do in the risk assessments, the criteria on which risk is rated is so important. So the risk assessment methodology in our LMS, we've got clause 6.1 within the ISO section, and we can see the planning clause. Within that planning clause, you can go through, there's a lot of things to read through here. Hazard identification, that in itself requires a methodology to think about when you're going to do it, how you're going to do it. But I'm going to move down because we're going to talk about the assessment of risks 6121 in ISO 45001. And that is the risk assessment methodology. And I've placed a methodology document in here for you. Within that methodology document, we've got, I say risk assessment methodology is quality assured and audited annually by our health and safety consultant. Well, if you have a safety advisor, that's you. So what you've got to do is think, have a look through here. How do you do yours? You can annotate this, but look at the process. I've got, I think it's 13 entries here for risk assessment methodologies. And for each one, I have whether there is a legal and other requirement, when it will be completed, who to complete it, and who you're going to consult with, and also how you're going to communicate that document. How are you going to consult on the risk assessment, but how you're going to communicate that document, what template it is on, when it will be reviewed, and the minimum competence and or training required. So if you want to do this for strategic approach, think back to planning, think the context of ISO, general workplace risk assessment, pregnancy risk assessment, young person risk assessment, when you're going to complete those again, when, who's going to do it, on what template you're going to do it on. So this is a document that you can download and you can use. Okay, we're now going to look at where methodology is stated within 45001. So let's do a quick search, 45001 methodology. There, we can see it's come up a few times. Methodology, the organisation's methodologies and criteria for the assessment shall be defined and documented. This is really important. That's why never there is going to be such an important thing as the risk assessment methodology. And it's written there a few times. It's also mentioned there, the methodology comes up under the management of change as well. You can see here where you can see the A number, that means we're in the guidance at the bottom of the document. So methodology really important. And now we're going to look at 18004, an old document, but fantastic document, 152 pages long. Where does methodology come in that? A number of times. Look at this diagram. I think this is fantastic. Develop your risk assessment methodology. Identify the hazards, assess the risks, determine the controls, implement the controls, monitor and review, and that manage changes in the centre. Develop your methodology. So back to that methodology, how important that is. A really good document. This is an old one. So it's an old document, I should say. It's a supporting document to ISO 18001, but its methodology is mentioned so many times in here. Organisations' methodologies. Methodology. Really important. Guidance on risk assessment and control. So methodology is really critical. So you have this document available for your download, and that is within the ISO clause 6.1 element. I hope you find it useful.